What's up, Subhouse fam? It's your boy Josh here at Printing United 2024. I just had the great pleasure and honor to speak up at the Sublimation panel for the apparel zone, and it went phenomenal. Unfortunately, we had a little bit of some audio issues locally here, but overall, it was a great time, and I was able to speak and give some insights into what we do, how we do it, and why we do it. I hope you enjoy. Thank you.
The last panelist, this is probably where we'll get the most benefit. Anybody that's been in DyeSub for the length of time and does the vast number of products that Josh is able to properly execute. I mean, it's not half-assed. The stuff you make is amazing.
Thank you.
So I'll turn it over to Josh. He's going to talk about, I'd like you to talk about what are some of the pitfalls, talk about some of the experience of growing from small to where you are now, and how long it took. You know, a lot of people think they're going to start cutting and sewing jerseys, and in the first 6 months they're profitable. That is, I've never seen that, honestly. You know, in 30 years of DyeSub, never. So I'll turn it over to you. Your mic works.
Testing, testing. Well, I could speak pretty loudly, so I'll speak pretty loud. So like you said, my name is Josh. I'm one of the owners of the Sublimation House here in Vegas. We manufacture apparel and accessories for brands. And we got into this space, long story short, we have a children's clothing brand that's been around since 2008. And out of the need of finding a reliable partner that we could not find, I learned how to do it myself. And like Nick touched on, it was not easy. It was definitely a solid 3 to almost 4 years of losing money left and right. It was difficult, kind of how Dimple touched. The education in this space is very minute. You could find millions of videos on screen print, embroidery, but when it comes to sublimation and executing on sublimation, it's extremely difficult to find education, and the vendors and partners that are in the space, they don't really like to share. And we're the opposite. We put out YouTube videos, we have people come out to our factory, we show people around, we show people what we do, and we enjoy the education side of things because we are on the other side and we want to be everybody to be as successful as we can be in the space. And so, yeah, it's very crucial to have the reliable inks, the reliable paper. We've probably gone through at least 20 to 30 different ink suppliers. Nick has gone through with us probably 15 different types of paper when it comes from thickness to coatings to uncoated, coated, high yield, etc. And it's definitely a challenging task, but thankfully we have kind of figured out a little bit of the science part of it and are now able to execute properly on the products that we produce. We don't stick to like your traditional sportswear. We do offer the traditional sportswear, but we pretty much are more outside of that. We cut and sew full bomber jackets. We do duffel bags. We do pants. We do shorts. We do a lot of organizational wear for golf brands, as well as in the sports world for jiu-jitsu and things of that sort. And that's kind of like our space and domain when it comes to it. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Yes, the colors. Yeah. Yeah, our colors are very vibrant. We throw heavy ink loads on our paper and had to make sure that the paper can absorb that ink load as well as release in time to be able to make sure that the garment gives it the right color, and the consistency of being able to print a blue, a yellow, a red today and print it again in 3 weeks or in 6 weeks and achieve that same color, because most of our customers are reoccurring business. They're ordering every week, every 3 weeks, every 6 weeks, and a lot of it is reorders. So they'll order today 100 pieces and then they have a few stragglers, they need 10 pieces, and we need to make sure that those colors match and line up properly.
That was actually a great thing to end on there. Anytime you're trying to print legacy color, right? Legacy means I have to reproduce that color again. If any of the variables in your process change, meaning I'm running a different paper, I'm running a different ink, I pressed it for a different amount of time, I pressed it at a different temperature, any variable, it's a different substrate, it's going to change the results. You're not going to have consistent results. So if your paper manufacturer can't keep the paper consistent, then they're going to cause your results to differ. just because they can't make it the same. So that's one of the reasons, again, I can't stress it enough, using quality products that can be made the same way each time. I've found products coming out of Asia that have actually been good once. And then the next batch is different. You're like, well, what do we do? Well, you throw a lot of stuff in the garbage. And that stuff you're throwing in the garbage is your profit. So, you know, we try and save money on ink, we try and save money on paper, we try and save money in the process anywhere we can. My argument to you would be, you're squeezing the wrong thing, right? Don't squeeze your vendor for a cheaper paper, because they'll find you a cheaper paper. They're still gonna be able to make money. Your vendor's not gonna sell you something and lose money, right? We're all in business to profit. So if you ask, if you keep pushing, you're just gonna get cheaper supplies. If you get cheaper supplies, you're not gonna have quality and consistency. You're gonna lose customers, because that customer doesn't want you to send them stuff that doesn't look good. The jerseys where you look out in the baseball field and you see 6 of the players have black and the other 3 players have a dark gray. It doesn't look good. It's a bad look for the team, right? And I see that a lot in the sportswear space. In the soft signage space, it's even more crucial. You're gonna have a retail display that looks one way for half the retail display, and then over here the colors change. That doesn't fly. You're reprinting that job. So reprints are the death of the large format sublimator. Reprints are not great for the small format sublimator, but I think you don't feel the impact as much as you do when we're talking large format, when we're talking 10-foot, when we're talking soft signage. Sublimation has grown so much since we started. You know, at first it might have been a lot of transfer to poly fabric. We did some spot decoration of garments, always the mugs and the hard surface stuff. But as you've watched over the last 10 years, I would say the product offering has grown tenfold, right? I mean, people are making dinner plates and all kinds of things. With vacuum sublimation, we have a whole nother access to a whole nother market. So one of the things I'm going to go through each panelist again. Just go ahead and charge Printing United for this mic, because I've been beating the heck out of it. So I'm going to go to each panelist and I'm going to ask them to talk to me about one product. I know you mentioned the Extreme Sign, so you're not allowed to mention that one again. You have to pick another one to talk about. I want them to talk about one product that's innovative in their space. And for Josh, you'll talk about one product you've had a lot of success with selling into the space, like a new product yourself.
One of our most popular products that we've had a lot of success with is actually our shorts. So we do a few things a little bit different with our shorts. The big one being is we print our pockets, whereas most factories, they'll just cut and sew pockets for 2 reasons. 1, cost, and 2, simplicity. We like to be way different than everybody else. We don't do things the same, because the whole point of innovation and with sublimation is you're able to do things other people can't do with the technology. You're able to sublimate in weird areas, you're able to match graphics around different areas and things of that sort. And then when we take it and we heighten the product and we add embroidery onto sublimated items, then you're able to add in more of a premium product. And so for us, we like to venture into different areas. With our bomber jackets, we sublimate every piece of the bomber jacket. There's not one piece of the bomber jacket that's not sublimated. The inside, the cuffs, the pockets, the waistbands. So there's literally no limitations to design. There's no limitations to the creation and the creativity that can be achieved. And same with our golf polos, same thing. We sublimate the entire polo, the placket, the collar, everything. So there's no limitations to the creativity and design that you can use.
I think that's one of the most overlooked functions of dye sublimation, is just the complete customization of everything, right? Dye sub will do so much, but dye sub is a great base platform to add on to. So we see all these other technologies here, DTF and DTG, and there are lots of different transfer technologies out there. There's vinyl application. All of that can be added on top of dye sublimation. So if you're looking, like you have top right there, and that's like, what do they call that? Puff. So I think that's what differentiates a lot of the where do you buy your product from the guy that's showing me the innovation, the guy that's showing me multiple different technologies on one thing, that's a lot of times what separates who gets the order and who doesn't, right? It costs a bit to do that second process. The more complicated something is, the less likely someone's going to knock it off, right? If it takes me 5 steps to do something, who else is going to do 5 things to make that thing sell? That's where cut and sew is kind of one of those processes where it's like, yeah, I don't mind doing a coffee mug. Doesn't take that long. It's easy to sell. But if you're asking me to cut and sew a bomber jacket, it's going to take me a little while to figure that one. Taking a little while is money. If it takes me a month to figure out how to do something, that's a month of me throwing crap in the garbage trying to figure it out. So I had a cut and sew company for about 3 years. It was an interesting foray into dye sublimation. I've been doing it forever, so I was like, well, I know the process. I know the colors. I can do this. If anybody can do this, I can do this. I teach people how to do this. Well, there's that, but I have 4 kids, and I wanted to see them occasionally, and I noticed running a company, okay, so I'd like to open up the floor to questions. You've got an incredible amount of knowledge up here on the stage. There's got to be somebody in here that's had a problem or been looking for a solution to something in the sublimation space. Somebody ask me a question. What do we got? Don't be shy or I'll start picking on people.
So I'm pretty new. What I'm looking for is a dye sub process that can be used on any type of fabric that has a vibrancy of DTF. And this is something that some textile chemists need to be working on, you know, because what I don't want is a DTF, the plastics feel of a DTF. I want the softness of a dye sub on the fabric, if that makes sense.
Okay, so I'll start it off and then I'll hand it down the line. So if you are trying to go on natural fibers, right, dye sub works fine on the polyester, but when you get into cotton or cotton blends, it does not work, right? You're only going to get a portion of the dye. If it's a 65-35 poly-cotton blend, you're going to get about 65% of the color because the cotton isn't going to take the dyes. Now, I'm with you. So if I want dye sublimation to work on a natural fiber, I have to add a poly component to absorb those dyes on the cotton. So I can do that with adhesives. I've seen people put down poly adhesives. I've seen people put down a white poly coating. That's how all the hard surface stuff is done. There's a white poly coating that's put down, and that's sublimated. So to sublimate what you're talking about, there are very few options for cotton or natural fiber. I will let Davide talk about natural fiber options that look like dye sublimation and feel like dye sublimation, but are not dye sublimation. And then I'll let you talk about textile.
Yeah, perfectly said, Nick. And I understand the needs to having, on other fiber, the same shine and softness of the dye sublimation that come from paper, but unfortunately that's not going to be an option because of the nature of the fabric. So in order to decor natural fabric, unfortunately dye sublimation is not an option. It's not today, and unless we don't prepare the fabric somehow, it's not going to be possible because it's not in its nature, right? Pre-treated or coated, that's it. So for natural fabric, other technology than sublimation are definitely more available, which better result. We're talking about pigment. The industry is getting super excited about pigment since the last ITMA in Italy 2 years ago, and also this show we can see a lot of pigment. Pigment correctly applied in digital today can give very nice result on natural fabric other than polyester. That's for sure. So this is the solution I would take for your options, right? And you can do that directly, or
Yes, transfer paper. So I don't think anyone has seen transfer on natural fiber unless for the small format market. So no roll to roll. But yeah, we worked on this technology for many years and we launched it at ITMA, and it's a transfer paper which has a special coating, and you can transfer on cotton but also many other substrates. It works on silk, nylon, linen, bamboo. We are even testing other substrates like leather, and it's called Texpo. It's a pigment transfer paper for yeah, all these fabrics that I have mentioned. It's a simple technology. So we were talking about 5 steps. With this product, you don't need pre-treatment, you don't need finishing, don't need after treatment. You just print and transfer. So you can use the knowledge that you have about sublimation, because it's a very similar process, but it opens up new opportunities, new markets, new textiles. So I will invite you to come visit our booth and we can discuss more about this technology.
So to recap what we just went over, pigment, all right, is your natural fiber solution. You see pigment all over the show. DTF, DTG, those are pigment inks. Okay? In the DTF process, pigment is transferred. It feels the way it does because you have adhesive, made a sandwich, a stack of ink and adhesive that you're sticking on a garment. It's the opposite of dye sublimation. Dye sublimation is a process where you're dyeing into the fibers of the shirt. What Davide was referring to is a pigment technology that prints directly onto the fabric without a pre-treatment, without a post-treatment. It runs, you print, goes through an oven, it's done. Okay, in the past, pigment or reactive type inks would have to be pre-treat, post-treat, wash, and then it's ready for the market. So in the US, we don't see a lot of that because the wastewater is very high. The gray water produced by that process is very high. So along comes Texcoal. Now you have a way to transfer with pigment onto all the natural fibers. There is zero wastewater. There is zero post-process. All you're doing is a transfer. So they use a special calendar to make a transfer to all your natural fibers. So there are options out there that will feel like what you want to feel. Typically they're, you know, for this machine, on $400,000 to do that. And in this world, what's the Mamaki that runs that? I'm guessing substantially less than $400,000.
So you need a pigment inks. So yeah, that would be your investment. But for the transferring process, the special calendar that is out there, you can use it both for sublimation and pigment transfer. So it's one machine that you can use. And yes, and for transferring on natural fibers and other substrates. So that's the advantage.
And then to touch on that a little bit, there's also innovations on the fabric side. So we have several fabrics that we use that give you that natural cotton feel, but they are still synthetic fabrics. But there is fabrics that we use that feel like a Bella Canvas blend or a Next Level blend. As a t-shirt, there are fabrics that are hoodie fabrics that have that fleece liner that feel like cotton. It doesn't give you the full cotton feel, but it gets you very close, and you are able to sublimate them because they are synthetic fabrics.
What he's referring to is typically ring spun. So like ring spun polyester is going to have that cotton feel, right? And a lot of the polyesters, and polyester used to be like a swear word in the decorated business, right? Since the 70s, like the polyester leisure suit, everybody just had their mind on that, those shirts that didn't breathe at all. Now most of the polyester that we're seeing out there, especially in the sportswear world, it's moisture wicking, it's breathing, it's marketing really is what it is, but the bottom line is that's what's popular in the sportswear world. All of your sportswear is polyester. So I get what you're saying, and where these applications are very prevalent would be in fashion, right? We see pigment in fashion like men's dress shirts, things like that. Interior decor, quite a large industry for that. What other industries do you see that touch in the pigment space?
Oh, big one for sure is shirts. Generally speaking, pigment, the ability, especially with modern machine with high-end resolution and very small droplet, we're able to print on natural fabric super micro design, incredible quality, and dot gate. At that point, shirts is one about the business market, but I do agree, home textile for sure, and definitely apparel. Main one.
Yeah, nothing to add to that. And apparel lately is like, it can be sportswear because a lot of people start wearing also leggings or sportswear just as a fashion item. So the two are overlapping in the last couple of years.
Okay, somebody else has to have a question for me. Okay, hold on.
Hey, can you talk about printing on sustainable fabrics like recycled polyester and others?
What specific questions? Like,
How long goes? Do you have favorites?
yeah, so there are several eco fabrics that are pure recycled fabrics. It's hard to find a good one. You're not going to get the full vibrancy of I guess new fabric per se. There are a few fabrics that are recycled that will give you close to it, but unfortunately I have yet to experience like a 100% recycled fabric that gives me that full color vibrancy that you're looking for when you work with a new fabric. We have a brand out in Hawaii that all they use is the eco fabric, and their colors are supposed to be very vibrant, and we get close, but we print that same design on other fabric and we do get a lot more vibrancy from it.
So what are some of the, I know Reprieve.
Yep, Reprieve is one. Sportech has a few different fabrics that are eco. They have, I think, a line of about 8 or 10 different styles of fabrics that range from swimwear all the way through sportswear, yoga wear, things of that sort in the eco space.
And one of the things in sublimation space that I think I'm asked a lot about is recycling the paper. And it's not necessarily, what people don't understand is digitally printed paper can't beat the ink properly, right? There's no way to get the ink out of the paper when you digitally print it. So that makes recycling the paper a bit of a chore. I've seen customers get very creative with what they'll do with their waste paper. I've seen them sell it to people for packaging, which is incredible, to stuff boxes.
Yeah, we use it for cut layouts. So we do both roll-to-roll laser cutting as well as bulk cutting. And so we'll recycle our printed paper and use it for the base and the top layer for when we're doing bulk cut and when we're doing 30, 40, 50 layers of fabric. So we try to recycle it, but yeah, like you said, that was one of my first questions when I got in this niche. I'm like, so what do I do with this paper? Like, do I get to use it again? Can I print it again? They're like, no, it's trash. I'm like, oh man.
Or the tissue.
Or the tissue, yeah.
Protection tissue.
The protection.
Customer run it and then flip it over and try and run it the other way. And you're like putting all the ink
On the
back
belt.
in your press.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that we talk about sustainability and recycling, but maybe a new word we should start using is repurposing, because even with clothing, I see nowadays a lot of platforms where you can resell, you can repurpose, you can donate. It's not necessarily recycle, but it has a new life. So I would like to talk about more repurposing as well.
Again, if you are a sublimator and you do have a whole bunch of waste paper, go find a business that sends out 500 packages a day. They will use your tissue and pack it in those packages. I mean, it works, and it is a good use for the product. Okay, we're almost out of time. I'd like to give them each one thing to kind of leave on your mind, to leave you with. For me, it's find your white space. Go out there, sublimation's great, you can do so much with it, but you have to find your white space. Stay vertical, find it and go for it. Don't try and do it all. I find a lot of people are like, yeah, I can do 8,000 different things with sublimation. You will be distracted and you will not make money.
Well, Hick, and I would say that the versatility of this technology and also the contents that the more things that technology give everybody the space to be in. So with some attention, with some method, it can be done.
Yeah, I would agree with that. That would be also my takeaway from this discussion. And also keeping sustainability top of mind, because it is possible. There are technology that, and companies, because that, let's not forget about sustainability is not only the end product, it also needs to be top of mind. How you manufacture, how you produce, less carbon footprint, how you run your facility. This is also something that is important.
So coming from the desktop world, I would say imagination. You got to dream it, and you have to be fearless to start it. So don't let anything stop you. Just jump right in, and you have the entire industry as cheerleaders behind you to support you. And at the point that you need education, reach out to anybody, because there is no lack of help in this industry. It is just about making sure you reach out, because you're sitting in the seat of success. You're only as good as who your friends surrounding you are.
So two things. One is consistency. That's going to be my biggest advice, is stay consistent with your product. And that kind of ties into number two, is your consumables. Don't cheap out on your consumables. It does make a drastic difference. Yes, that bottle of ink might be $10, $15 cheaper, but when you run your cost, it really is only saving you pennies, but the difference in the reprint, the difference in the colors, the difference in the consistency is gonna change. And you're in the business to have repeat business. And so if you're having to acquire new customers every single month, you're never gonna grow. The key is to get one customer, keep that customer, and add a second. And the only way you're gonna be able to do that is by achieving your result over and over and over again. So don't stress about reinventing the wheel. Find the right products that work for what you're trying to execute on, and stick with those products. That's gonna be my biggest takeaway.
Thank you guys for coming. I really appreciate it. If anybody needs anything, I'll be over in the apparel zone, the wedding chapel, right over there. Thank you.